Hi, everyone. It's meteorologist Matt Wintz here on this Wednesday afternoon. The time right now is about 1:35 Central Time. I want to make that clear because if you're watching this later on our Facebook page, the information is going to be outdated in this case. But either way, I want to bring you guys an update here in terms of our severe weather this afternoon, kind of what we're looking at. We've got the severe thunderstorm watch out for Lake and Porter counties. That goes until 8. We probably won't need it until 8. I think these storms will be through before then. But overall, we're looking at just a small window of time when some of these storms that roll through will be on the strong to severe side. There are no guarantees that this line holds together completely through all of Northwest Indiana. Lake and Porter counties obviously standing the best chance. I agree with that the watch issuance. But overall, we're going to be dealing with just a narrow band of storms that move through. This isn't going to be a giant complex of storms. This isn't going to be anything like the derecho we talked about last evening that happened a year ago. This is just a line of storms that's going to move through. And the threat from it is damaging winds. Can't rule out a couple other modes of severe weather, but we'll dive into the broadcast here. Hope you guys are doing well here on this Wednesday. Boy, is it hot outside. It's hot. It's humid. It's so tropical. You can feel it. We've got fair weather cumulus that have developed in that heating of the day. And I want to start out with this. Well, first and foremost, let's thank our sponsors. This is a free broadcast for them, but any of the companies up above are amazing local family-owned businesses here to Northwest Indiana. You can get more details on our other website or our other broadcasts. We get into detail about that. All right, so in terms of severe weather, what we're looking at, satellite, right? This shows all the clouds from space. We get such a clear picture of what's happening meteorologically when we look at the satellite, especially this time of year with that high sun angle. We get a really good bright, vivid look at the clouds. And there are a couple features to note. So this time of year, things aren't really clean in terms of the atmosphere. And what I mean by that is, in the fall and in the spring and in wintertime too, you get very clear fronts where you have a noticeable change behind a line on the map and a noticeable change in front of it. And you'll often have a line of storms that is very complete right in the middle of that, right? This time of year, everything kind of waffling along. There's no real jet stream involvement. The jet stream way up in Canada, that's why things just kind of meander along. We have pop-up storms that do their thing, that kind of fade. And we have a very kind of reluctant, slow-moving atmosphere. And so what we look for are little features within that this time of year that can kind of give a clue as to what's going on. And so there's a little feature here down by Cincinnati, just north of Cincinnati. Notice there's a little bit of a swirl to the clouds there. If you look at a general weather map or a surface map, you're not going to see a feature there. But if you look at the satellite, you can see that. That's going to help to uptick storms in areas of eastern Indiana and Ohio as that low goes in and it just helps the atmosphere to lift a little bit. Well, we've got a more noticeable swirl occurring up towards areas of Iowa and southern Minnesota. All right, and this is a low pressure system itself. This low is bringing in a shot of slightly drier air. But more importantly, the wind is coming in, not just at the surface, but in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and it's butting up against the flow that we have. You can see our flow coming pretty much out of the south. See how these clouds are going from south to north out ahead of it? And then you get this flow that kind of crashes into it. Well, anytime you see a crash in terms of clouds or atmosphere, that's exactly what's happening, is you have an air mass coming into another air mass, and they don't just absorb each other. They come together and they can't go into the ground because there's a surface there, right? And so they have to go up. And so anytime you see that little crash in the atmosphere, you get a lot of uplift where they're coming together. And that's exactly what we see here. So again, that's the explainer as to what's going on. Here's your frontal boundary. And as this air mass crashes in with this one here, we're seeing these explosive thunderstorms develop, all right? So Wisconsin down towards areas of west central Illinois getting hit hard. We could trail this line even further south in the areas of Missouri, just north of St. Louis. This is a line that we're going to watch with these explosive thunderstorms. We're going to watch this kind of slowly make its way in. So in terms of the radar, this is what we're dealing with. And we have had some tornadoes or tornado warnings in areas of Wisconsin. That is closest to where the swirl is. That's producing some decent spin within this as well. That's where I would expect the tornado threat to remain. For us, it's more linear, all right, with these storms, and it's more of a severe thunderstorm risk, which is why we have a severe thunderstorm watch for Lake and Porter counties. But the threat from that's going to be damaging winds within some of these. This isn't going to be a widespread severe event, but it's one of those things we'll have to watch each cell individually as it moves in, as we may have pockets of wind damage within that. Hail risk isn't particularly high with this. especially when we have such a warm, humid atmosphere. Some of that even melts on the way down. But there is a low-end tornado risk, and I just want to throw that out there. If one of these things gets better organized and it's close enough to that MCV or that area of rotation off towards the north, we may see a little spin with it. So we'll keep an eye on it as we go throughout the afternoon. But again, I'm not expecting a blockbuster severe event here in the region, but we'll have to watch this line as it moves through. Big question in terms of the modeling is how far south does this get going? The latest HRRR model, and I'll show you some of those models, they develop these storms here, take them up through Chicago, but they don't develop the stuff further south very well. And so that would leave, and this would be so Northwest Indiana, especially when we need rain, this would leave much of Northwest Indiana dry if those models were to verify, bringing this chunk of storms through Chicago, and without much development down to the south, we would get like a shower or two. I don't see that happening. I think that the models are slightly underdone, which is kind of rare in terms of how this line is developed. I do see us getting at least a line of storms through here. How strong it is remains in question. We've got a little bit of ways to go here in terms of travel. But I want to show you a couple other things. I mean, we're loaded with energy. I threw these rainbow colors on here. This is CAPE, for those that have been with me a long time or just weather junkies. This is convective available potential energy. Big word, I know. We call it CAPE for short. And basically what it means, the more CAPE you have, the more atmospheric energy you have, more juju you have to that atmosphere, or food for the storms, or ability for the air to lift. It just means it's very buoyant in that atmosphere. And so that's one of the things we look at is, does the CAPE drop off locally? It really doesn't. We have plenty of atmospheric energy for these. So I would suspect that these would remain sustained at their current levels or even grow a little bit in strength. Given that look at the atmosphere. The other thing, the dew points are just so sky high. I'm going to throw a bunch of small numbers on here, but these are all your station plots, and you can see we've got temperatures. If you can see those small numbers, good for you. We've got temperatures that are up near 90 degrees as we were expecting, but more importantly, that green number, that's the dew point. We've got dew points in the upper 70s just down to our south. That air is blowing in, and we've got dew points here locally around 72 to 73. Remember, dew point measures how muggy it feels. And it certainly is muggy. We've got the tropical air around here as we get these storms going. So that atmosphere is ready. I did have a comment on the page earlier, said nothing but sunshine here so far. We all know sunshine isn't good when you're talking severe weather, right? Because that is fuel for the thunderstorms. So let's talk about how the models evolved this. I kind of want to go off model for this for a second because I don't like any of the model runs. Typically, I'll lean, whether it be the NAM, NEST, the HRRR. We have the graph model at my day job, and I'll lean on one of those that I like better, but I don't like any of them right now. And here's why. I mean, here's the line as it's moving in from the west. It doesn't have it as well developed as it is right now, so I just don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. But either way, what we're looking at, this is the latest HRRR run, and it does bring that line of storms a little bit further south. So I'm glad it has filled in a bit. But you can see it's not a huge complex. It's just a small line of storms that will roll through. Those individual storms, though, could pack a punch. Once that goes through, may have another storm development on the back side of it, but overall, that would be the main show with that line as it goes through. And then our wind shifts. Tomorrow, we get some drier air in here. It's not going to be a good day at the beaches because we're going to have a really strong wind producing some big waves and rip currents tomorrow. So keep that in mind if you do have beach plans. But that's about it. It heads through, heads out. Timing of it, I know everyone wants to know the timing. I've got this thing, it's pretty easy to time out because I'm looking at it, and if you plug in the movement at 35 miles per hour off towards the east, which is the general movement of this, it's about 2.5 hours away from here, all right? And by here, I mean the Illinois-Indiana border. Once it enters the region, I consider it here. So 2.5 hours, we're looking at, 4 o'clock, 4:15, somewhere in there, arriving in areas of like Gary and Hammond and Whiting, down towards the Lowell area. Should be slightly behind as that line's kind of oriented. But overall, we're looking about 2.5 hours before the things arrive. So we're talking right before that evening rush hour enduring. So it'll probably go through from west to east between 4 and 6 o'clock Central Time. Okay, so that's the timing we're looking at. And again, impacts from this, everybody stands the same chance for severe weather with this. The best chance is going to be Lake, Porter, and even LaPorte counties. The severe thunderstorm watch is out for Lake and Porter. And I do agree with that because that severe threat is really tied to where this low is. Here's your highest severe threat right up by the swirl. And the swirl, this low, is heading off towards the north and east. So it's getting further and further away from us. And so the further south you get in this line, the less and less the chance for severe weather with this. And that's why, some of our southern counties aren't included in that severe thunderstorm watch. But that being said, Mother Nature does not go by lines, right? Mother Nature doesn't say, oh, well, they issued a severe thunderstorm warning or watch for Lake and Porter counties, so that means we can't have a severe storm in Newton and Jasper counties, right? That's not how it works, all right? We all stand a chance for some strong storms from this. So just because we're not in a severe thunderstorm watch, and for some of you, doesn't mean we let our guards down, okay? We're going to watch this line equally as it rolls through. So that's the timing of it. Again, about 2.5 hours away, probably 2 hours, 15 minutes now that we're into the broadcast. So that would put it here around 4 and then moving east subsequently throughout the next hour or so after that, all right? And then in terms of bigger picture, I did want to kind of talk about this. We can talk about this more in detail when we do our Region Weather Live tomorrow night. But overall, we've got a very active pattern coming our way next week. And this comes with some heat. So let me just start with the heat briefly. There's this big dome of heat that develops in the plains right in here. This is, I mean, look at this thing. It's like in the plains and down in the Tennessee Valley. So it's actually a little further east than this latest model run. This is the 12Z Euro, which just came in not too long ago. And you can see how this big ridge of heat develops, right? This is going to be that ring of fire pattern that develops next week, or the Ridge Rider pattern. You might have heard that, or maybe you haven't heard any of that, and you're like, what are you talking about? Well, this happens notoriously in the summer very often. We'll jump into this pattern, then we'll jump out of it for a couple weeks, then we'll jump back into it. This is really the first time that I'm seeing it in the modeling, and it's really the first time that we're going to have it as it looks right now this summer. And what it is, it's characterized by just a big dome of heat. Underneath that dome of heat, there's just so much sinking air and heat suppression that it just gets stinking hot. So we're going to have widespread 90s and 100s down towards the south. Where that periphery is around this dome of heat, wherever that dome sets up, sometimes it's west, sometimes it's in the Tennessee Valley, sometimes it's east. Either way, wherever that dome sets up, around the periphery or the outside of it or the ring of it, okay, and I'm including even the southern end of it, you get explosive thunderstorms that go and they kind of curve and travel along that. And so that's the pattern we're going to get into next week. And why do we really care? Well, number one, we're going to be borderline hot each day, as that hot air is going to be really close to us, but we're on the periphery. And so we're also going to have storm chances every so often with this. And when we talk about storms, it's those large complexes of storms that blow up in the Central Plains. You'll see this huge line of storms coming in from like Wisconsin or Minnesota. You'll say, no, that's going to miss us. But no, it curves, because it curves along where that arc is, where that boundary is. That's the pattern we're getting into. And so you get this ring, which is basically the center of it's the heat. And then you get this ring around it. And we call it the ring of fire because that's where the storms fire up. And you get these huge complexes that just kind of rotate around it like a clock. And that looks to be our pattern next week. So outside of our severe risk today, this pattern is going to bring a severe risk as well. And these storms can pack more of a punch. This is how you get your derechos. Not saying we're going to have one next week, but this is how you get them in this kind of pattern where you have a sustained boundary. It's usually an instability boundary that sustains that large complex of storms for thousands or hundreds and hundreds of miles, up to thousands of miles at times, depending on how far it falls. Sometimes we've seen these go from Montana to the East Coast before with some of these complexes. This one would be more centered around the Dakotas and Minnesota. The storms next week would have a path through our area somewhere in the southern Great Lakes, and then they would curve down towards Kentucky and Virginia. So that's just kind of what we're looking at next week. Modeling is picking up on this finally. I'll just show you briefly kind of what we're looking at. This front heads through here today. We should be mainly dry tomorrow, outside of a stray shower on the back side of this. Looks mainly dry tomorrow. Friday looks great. And then here's your weekend where we're starting to kick off that pattern. Some kind of complex of storms here rolls through later Saturday. And then you can see next week, front settles south. And then here you go. Here are your complexes of storms that develop. They roll along that boundary. The model's trying to pick up on it. See all these chunks? All right. Models have a really bad time of picking it up because it's chaotic. I mean, these things develop off of prior days' outflow boundaries, but you get the idea. We turn pretty stormy in and around the Great Lakes at times next week. Doesn't mean it's going to be a washout here. But I know we need the rain. We know we need the rain. And overall, we're going to be dealing with some rain chances next week. Some of those could be pretty heavy. But back to reality here today. Again, we've got nice dry weather right now, just some fair weather cumulus. It is hot outside. It's humid. We are tracking this line of storms in from the west. Should be pretty picturesque as well as this arrives or begins to arrive over the next couple of hours. What you will see in the sky is you're going to see these high clouds start to come off of it. All right, those high clouds are those cumulonimbus clouds that go way up in the atmosphere. And the weak jet stream that we have is going to kind of shear it off and bring those high cirrus clouds over you. So we'll cloud up from the west. Sky will get darker and darker and darker. Then eventually you'll see the thunderstorms. May have some shelf clouds with it. It's not going to be, a totally picturesque line along the whole thing. Again, it's not a giant complex. These are individual storms, but we'll see those storms roll in from the west. And again, probably another 2 hours to 2 hours, 15 minutes before this arrives in our western counties. That's what we're looking at, all right? So go ahead and throw your questions into the chat. That's the whole point of Facebook Live and being live on our YouTube channel as well. I do appreciate you guys joining me this afternoon. Hopefully this helps kind of qualm any worries that we have. And again, the counties that are not in the severe thunderstorm watch right now, I do not want you to think that you're not going to have a severe thunderstorm. The potential's still there for you that you would have a severe thunderstorm. And on a scale of 1 to 10, this is not a 10 event. This is more so a 4 or a 5. Where we need to pay attention. Some of these storms will be on the stronger side as they're rolling in. Damaging winds are going to be your primary risk, but I'm going to keep my eye out for that isolated tornado. It's possible. I don't want to scare anyone, but it's just something we need to watch, and we'll be on it. We'll have coverage for you as necessary as we go throughout the evening, all right? So let's see. Ashley's saying, bring on the rain. Karen agrees. So there's that. Vicky wants some good storms. There's that as well. Carol, you do not. Yeah, your basement's under construction. Oh boy, yeah, I'm not looking at these being basement dweller storms. I'm really not. I think those be good old-fashioned thunderstorms. And not everyone is going to see a thunderstorm. I mean, these things are going to be scattered. There's going to be, probably a storm here, and in between there's just some light rain. So again, this doesn't look to be a knockout severe event here for the region. But I don't want us to let our guard down. I never do. Aaron, yeah, so in terms of, I'm late going on for severe for Porter County. Yeah, nothing yet. So these things are about 2 hours away, Aaron, and for everyone else. Brianna, same for you. These storms are about 2 hours away, so we've got a little bit of time before they move in. You'll see the darkening skies from the west, but our atmosphere is primed. It's primed for, some storms today because we've got a lot of humidity. We've got a lot of available energy as well, and we've got a frontal boundary, so there's a reason for that air to lift. Let's see, Jeff asked a great question. Jeff says, will these storms be moving fast? Not today, Jeff. We've got a fairly lazy atmosphere, all things considered. So these are moving out towards the east around 35 miles per hour right now. That's pretty slow moving for thunderstorms, especially severe storms. Normally we see some more movement to them. That's a testament of the fact we don't have a powerful jet stream racing into these. So these are going not off of really jet energy. They're going off of just the instability alone that's so high. Okay, so there's that. All right, Jacob, what modes of severe weather? Great questions. So in terms of severe weather, Jacob, we're looking at damaging winds being your primary risk. Hail risk is there, but it's pretty low. And then we are going to keep an eye out for an isolated tornado with these. Bulk of the spin and bulk of the reason for any storms to twist would be up in Wisconsin. Closest is low pressure, but we'll be close enough by that we could get a squirrely storm or two in and around the region. It doesn't mean we'll have one, but overall, we've got to keep an eye on it, and that's my job. My job is to keep an eye on these storms and pass along that information, and I'll be doing that throughout the afternoon. So just make sure you're plugged in, ready to go. If we get a warning, I'll either have an update on it or we'll go live on it. So just keep that in mind. You're going to be in good hands this afternoon and evening, okay? All right, let's see. Kimberly says, what about baseball practice starting at 4? Well, Kimberly, that's interesting because that's when I'm expecting the storms to arrive in our western counties. It's going to be, to be honest, it depends on how these hold together, but I do expect them to hold together pretty well, at least for our northern counties, Lake and Porter County. We'll see how far that line develops south. But these storms time up perfectly with baseball practice, Kimberly. So I just hope the coaches are aware and have that radar app handy. They should be pretty brief. So once these storms do move out, again, practice can resume. I think if we waited out in the cars or waited out, I wouldn't say dugout. You want to get inside a sturdy vehicle, because there's going to be lightning with these. But again, I don't know how well they're going to hold together in full transparency. The modeling's all over the board on it. I would imagine this line holds together, but I do feel like there's going to be broken segments in it as well. So I can't tell, how exactly you're going to get hit right at the ball field. But overall, I mean, I have it hitting right at 4. That's just my math. I may be off by a little bit, but that's what I've got. So my best advice would be to wait it out in a safe structure, let them go by, and then you guys can have baseball practice after that, as long as that lightning has cleared the area. Okay. Jesse says Highland can get the rain, but if severe stuff could stay away. We'll do what we can here. Maxwell saying 80-degree dew points next week. Maxwell, yeah, it's showing up in the modeling. So this corn sweat in the plains really gets going next week. I mean, we're seeing it now. We've got some high dew point air with upper 70s down to the south. But yeah, numerous, even low and mid 80-degree dew points in Iowa and Illinois next week. We're going to get really sticky here as well. So there's that. D, absolutely. You're absolutely welcome. Oh, I love the name. Believe in Jesus Christ. Love the YouTube page there. How's it looking for Cedar Lake? Same idea there. I don't know what to call you. I was going to call you JC. But anyway, Cedar Lake's got the same timing as everyone else. We're looking at around 4 o'clock arrival. There is a severe threat for you in Cedar Lake as well. I mean, no one is going to be excluded from this. The threat would be for damaging winds with this line of storms as it moves in. Should move in and out pretty quickly. It's moving slowly, but there's not a whole lot with it. It's a line and then it's out. Okay, it's not like storms linger behind it for hours and hours. Okay, let's see. Amber says driving to Dyer from Chicago at 5. So Amber, you will probably be chasing this thing at 5. So you're going to have wet travel for sure. The rain, you should be behind the rain as it moves east. So that drive shouldn't be too terrible. But you are going to be just, in terms of my timing, you're going to be just behind that rain at 5. All right. So we'll probably still have some wet pavement out there, but should be okay. Robin, you're welcome. Lynn, you're welcome as well. Kimberly says, you're the coach. There you go. Oh, good. You're a good coach then if you're checking in with the weather. A lot of coaches have no idea what's going on weather-wise. And I remember I have a fear of lightning because in Little League, my coaches, there was a storm and I'm in the middle of the outfield and it's like lightning in the distance. And I was a budding meteorologist at the time, at least I was interested in the weather. And I'm like, I shouldn't be out here. I shouldn't be out here. And you can't do anything about it. So I'm glad you're asking about it. But yeah, Kimberly, it's probably going to be far. If you can delay, if it's not too big of a deal to delay the practice, and again, I feel very comfortable saying that because I'll forecast rain delays for the Cleveland Guardians, the MLB team. We do a lot of work with them around rain delays and telling them how heavy the rain's going to be, how long it'll last, can the pitchers warm up. We do a lot of work with MLB, and that's high pressure stuff. So I feel very confident telling you that that rain's going to arrive at the beginning of practice, Kim, and you might want to delay it if you can, or just you guys all get there at the same time and wait it out, see what's going on with it. Hopefully it'll pass through pretty quickly. So there's that. Liam asks on our YouTube channel, where do you think the most powerful cells will be? Tough to tell, Liam, but it does favor our northern counties, all right, closer to this low pressure. This is where the energy is with this. So you can see these cells holding together really nicely in Wisconsin. These have a lot of rotation with them as well. They've had numerous tornado warnings up there. We kind of lose the rotation as we get down towards our area, the part that's going to be moving in, and we gain a severe thunderstorm threat. But closer to this low that you are going to be the stronger storms. So, forecasting is percentage based. Nothing is guaranteed, but the highest percentage chance for severe storms is right where that severe thunderstorm watch is. I think they did a nice job on it for Lake and Porter counties. LaPorte County would be in the mix as well. That's a different weather service, and so that's why they don't have one right now. So there's that. But hopefully we can get some rain out of this for sure. Let's see. Yeah, Kim, I know about the Porter County Fair. Always hot and wet. It's always humid, and there's always storm chances. So there's that. John, well, I'll tell you what, the winning lottery numbers for tonight, if I had that figured out, I would. It's interesting. I have better luck at predicting sports scores than the lottery because, whoa, my chair just sank. That's awesome. My foot was on that. This happens at work too when I'm like at the weather desk. I'll just, I'm messing around with my feet and then I hit that lever and my chair just sinks on air. It's great. So there's that. Angie, it should be over at 7. Depends on where you are in the area. If you're out east, LaPorte County, Stark County, you may still have some rain around at 7. But yeah, this will be out of the bulk of our counties by 7 o'clock Central Time, okay? Dale on our YouTube channel, Seed has me dreaming of snow. Yeah, it's interesting. My wife and I were sitting outside the other day, and it was just kind of miserable. It's just humid. It's just uncomfortable. And I know we love summer, but like we can be honest, it's uncomfortable at times. It really is. This humidity is just disgusting. And it's something you just put up with. I get it. But we were outside and we had a little bit of a breeze that kicked in for like a second. And we both started thinking about fall. We're like, well, fall wouldn't be too bad right now. I know we never want to rush summer, but fall is a really nice time of year when you finally get that fresh air after not having it for a couple months. But what a place to live! And I don't want to go on a tangent. What a place to live in the country! I'll tell you, people complain about Northwest Indiana weather, but we get everything. We really do, and we get it long enough that you kind of forget what the other season's like. So in the middle of summer, I can't imagine what it's like to have snow outside. I mean, we have an idea of it, but you really can't imagine it because you're so far away from it. And in the wintertime, it's just so long that you can't imagine what summer's like. And so I love it. I love the change in seasons personally. As a meteorologist, we get the challenges that each season brings. It's a very challenging spot to forecast in the country. It's not boring. We get these changes, and every season has its challenges, and they're completely different than the season before. And so what a blessing to live here. I really do say that. Yeah, Robin, my kids are in northern Wisconsin for vacation. They have 50s and rain. There is a chunk of chilly air up in northern Wisconsin right now. We're going to tap into that a little bit tomorrow. We'll probably struggle to get out of the 70s tomorrow, which is a big deal for us. It should be a pretty nice day as we bring in some of the drier air from the north. So we'll see. All right. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you go. Hopefully, I answered all your questions. If if you're watching this later on, you can go back and listen to the answers to the questions in some of the presentation stuff of that. It's not going to be outdated in terms of what's going to happen. It's just going to be a little closer to happening. So there's that. All right. So just in recap for everybody, here's what we're dealing with: circulation, low pressure off towards the north. This is butting up against our warm, humid air and creating a line of strong to severe thunderstorms stretching from Wisconsin down towards Illinois. This event that we have with the severe thunderstorm chance this afternoon is something that we see coming in. It's not something that's going to develop right over us. All right. This is something that we're watching. You can track on radar right now. If you have a radar app, pull it up, look at the radar. Those storms in Illinois right now are the ones we're going to watch come in our direction. All right. We've got plenty of instability. You can feel it. It's humid outside. It's hot outside. We've got plenty of reason for the air to lift once this front gets here. So I do expect these storms to hold together. It's going to be a quick hit of some storms. They're moving fairly slowly, but we're expecting kind of a one and done situation as these move through. There may be a pop-up on the backside, but damaging winds are a primary threat. I don't think everyone's going to see damaging winds. Lots of lightning. Some hail is possible. Hail threat's kind of low. And can't rule out very heavy rainfall with this, which we need, and also an isolated tornado. I'm just going to throw that in there because there is a chance for one. Most of the action is up towards Wisconsin with that, but going to keep my eye out for a squirrely cell. So what's our plan of action the rest of the day here? I'm going to keep you updated. If these things are severe and they're rolling in, we'll do a live update for you, so make sure you tune in. If for some reason you do lose power, that's the beauty of Facebook Live and YouTube, is that you can still stream. And you can stream from your safe place if we do have to get to that. I don't think we will. But overall, we'll have you covered here as we go throughout the afternoon. And as always, during severe weather events, I hope you come to expect that from us, okay? All right, you guys take care. Keep an eye on that line on your radar app. I'll be doing the same thing. And hopefully we don't have to talk again this afternoon, right? It'd be nice if this just went through as thunderstorms. If you don't hear from me, they're just run-of-the-mill thunderstorms, and I'll update the Facebook page on that as well. Okay, so we'll keep you updated. We'll get through it. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday afternoon, and we may talk soon, and if not, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow's our Facebook Live. I'm so used to doing our live broadcasts right now. But anyway, regardless, you get what day it is. I don't. Still sleep deprived. We'll talk to you soon, okay?